we've seen in years. This is, of course, the nano car race here at the CEMES laboratory of the CNRS here in Toulouse, where since 11 o'clock this morning, the most remarkable race has taken place in cars that you've heard of in the last few years. This is the nano car race, the cars that, of course, are about 30,000 times smaller than one of my strands of hair here, and which will take approximately 400 years to cross over a €2 coin. But nevertheless, despite the speed and the size of these things, it's remarkable what's actually being achieved today. And earlier, just before the race started, there was a special debriefing of the 6 teams to make sure that everybody knew what the rules were, to make sure that everyone was ready for it, and everybody knew what the competitors were doing, so that there was that no one was cheating, that everybody knew all the rules. And we have this special report from just those few moments before the race actually kicked off at 11 o'clock this morning. Let's take a quick look.
Claire, you are here too. Okay, good. So, thank you very much for coming. One announcement, 3 people are missing because they are stuck in some airport or whatever. Welcome you all to France, to CNRS, to CEMES, for this unique event.
I think the debriefing was really exciting, and it was a pleasure to meet all the other members of each team. So I think it was a very exciting and friendly meeting. We had all the necessary information for the race. I think we're ready to go. Good luck to everybody.
Agitez le drapeau. Encore.
Of course, what you want to know now is who is leading this race and who is lagging. Well, basically, we have a rankings that we can show you right now. And if you look on the screen, you can see that the dipolar racers, who are right next to me, are first. It's an Austrian-American team. You see the Swiss Nano Dragsters coming in second, the Swiss team. Windmill third, the Germans, and really around the American Bobcat team have made a little bit of progress, not too much, 2.5 nanometers, which is virtually nothing. And the French and Japanese are really struggling there. Now, of course, the dipolar racers, we have to talk about them in a special way. They're way ahead of everyone else because why? Because they're actually running on a silver surface. Let me give you an example. If you look at this, you can see it's pretty rugged, right? And it's like little waves, riplets here. Well, these are tracks which 5 of the teams are running on, and you can see it's pretty rough to go along, and it takes them a bit longer for these molecule cars to move along them. However, the winners for the time being, the team which were right next to me, they have a really flat surface. It's a silver surface, which means that their car is also very light, and they can go along a flat surface a lot quicker. So they're really in their own kind of world. But I'm so glad because they're with me right now. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
How's it all going for you so far?
Well, I think that this team has been very successful. They ran we were tasked with not just 100 nanometers, but 150 nanometers, and we've done that now twice. Run 2 cars, one in the first hour and a half, and then the other car I think took about 2 hours to cross the finish line. So 2 cars across the finish line so far. So we're excited about that.
So tell me your names first of all, because you have your whole team here. Tell me who is who, and here's your team here. So tell us who everyone is.
So the top left is Professor Leonhard Grill.
That's me.
Who's here at Graz, and then myself at Rice University. And then there's Grant Simpson, who's the main driver from Graz. The bottom left is Victor Garcia Lopez. He was the student at Rice University that made the dipolar nano car. And then there's Philip Pellemeyer. He's the second co-pilot driver from Graz.
And maybe may I add something, because there is this dark figure on the lower right. These are very important people because they're the ones who are taking care of the experiment in Graz, and so they're taking care if something happens that we can repair the thing.
Why a dual nationality kind of coalition group up here? It's Austrians and Americans, right? What's the reason behind that, the historic behind that?
Well, we've been collaborating for about a decade now on the movement of molecules on surfaces. And we had seen a paper from Professor Grill's group about 10 years ago and contacted him and thought that maybe we could work together where we would give him some of our molecules and see if he could study their motion on surfaces. And that's how it started.
If you just group up a little bit, I'm being told if you could just get a little bit, okay? Okay. Now, one thing which is kind of unique about is that you're also running yours on a silver surface. Explain that. Why is that?
So, in preparation for this race, we have tested a lot on the gold surface as well. We used the molecules on the silver surface before just for scientific reasons. We wanted to learn something there. Then we were told the gold surface will be the surface of choice for the race, so we tested it there. And actually it turned out that it's too mobile there. It's too fast. It's so fast that we cannot even image it. So we went to the race organizers and told them, well, either you change your electronics of instrument or we cannot compete because it's just too fast. And so we went, actually, it's a little bit opposite of what you said before. The silver surface is slower than the gold surface because the gold surface is more inert. It's a noble metal. And therefore, we were allowed to participate with the silver surface because they're slow enough to be imaged in a stable fashion.
So what we had done is our group has been working on the synthesis of nanocars for almost 2 decades. We started in 1998. So we had a lot of design parameters to make fast cars. We knew exactly which type of wheel. We've made many different types of wheels over the years. We knew exactly how to polarize the car so that it would react quickly with and efficiently with the voltage pulses that are used to drive these cars. And
I think we can see it here on the screen, actually.
Yes, that's a lab in University of Graz. This is maybe a live picture. So this is, there is no one in there because we run the instrument from here. But that's how it's equipped. It's similar to the experiment here in Toulouse. And the sample is in there and being used from here. So
what happened is we made the car so fast that when we were confronted with the electronics here would be too extreme for our fast cars. We wouldn't even be able to image them. They'd move too fast. So we were actually sent to a slower surface in order to do this, and then tasked with going 50 nanometers more than the other cars.
Now, what's unique as well is that there's this amazing microscope here which can look at 4 cars at the same time, but not yours. You have your own microscope. So while you're doing the race here, your microscope's where actually? It's in the States?
No. That's in Graz in Austria.
It's in
That's the one we've just seen.
Okay, and so you're actually running it from the microscope, which is hundreds and hundreds of miles from here. And we have a report on that, so we want to talk about that. So let's look at the report on how you're managing to run this race by having your microscope very far from here. So let's look at that report now if we can.
We work on molecular machines. We've been working on molecular machines for many years now, and so we're very happy to be able to participate. Our car has 2 wheels and a donor acceptor group to give it a strong net dipole in order to get it to translate on surfaces. We've worked on 4 or 5 different types of wheels, and we've chosen the fastest wheels. And we've chosen a structure that should be able to allow us to use the electric field gradient of the tip to move it quickly. We've chosen the fastest car we could make. We are going to try to win.
Great, thanks.
Well, there you go. Again, does silver actually mean more benefits for you in the long term, kind of looking ahead, or not?
Well, this depends on the molecule. So we are having many molecules from the group of Chimtur that we are testing, and depending on the very specific chemical composition interaction with the surface, we're choosing different ones. Silver is very good for many reasons. In particular for these molecules now, there might be others where we prefer a gold surface, for instance, but this is very specific. It depends on the interaction that you want to have, what is the diffusion you have there, are they locked at certain defects and many things.
Just as normal tires vary depending on what surface you're on, you change different tires. We've got different wheels for different types of surfaces, and so we tuned the car to these particular types of surfaces. If this were on gold, these molecules would just be too fast to be able to image with the current equipment there.
I'm curious still as when an electric shock hits your molecule car, how do you maintain the direction you want?
Well, there essentially are two things you can induce with your voltage pulse. So what you do is you apply an electric field, and this there's a gradient in the field underneath the tip, and the dipole moment in the molecule that has been attached by the chemists follows this field in a certain fashion. Now, what we have studied in the past was mainly the rotation of the molecules on the surface. We can just rotate them, but it can also translate them, which is important here. I think what helped us today really in this race was that we had a lot of knowledge about the rotation there, and depending on how the molecule is oriented on the surface, and then you want to translate in some direction, you need to consider everything there, both not only you cannot only move it in any orientation somewhere, you have to bring it in the right orientation first and then translate it. And this helps a lot then, but it's always the electrostatic interaction between the field and the molecule there.
Okay. Juste avant, I'm going to speak French for a second for our French viewers. Alors, ici, c'est l'équipe d'Ipola, c'est une équipe mélangée d'Autrichiens et Américains. Et pour l'instant, ils sont premiers parce qu'ils ont trouvé une voiture molécule qui est très rapide et qui est sur une surface d'argent et pas d'or. Les équipes en or, ils ont une surface un peu plus bosseuse et eux, ils ont une surface plus lisse. Mais en fait, ils nous expliquaient que ça ne change pas grand-chose pour eux. Ceux qui ont une voiture qui est très performante et ils ont décidé de mettre sur argent qui les ralentit même plus. Donc pour l'instant, ils sont vraiment devant les autres. Il y a 3 équipes pour le moment qui sont vraiment derrière. C'est l'équipe de Ohio aux États-Unis, l'équipe française et les Japonais qui sont vraiment derrière. Il y a une équipe que j'ai entendue de la Suisse qui approche de la ligne finale et si on a de nouvelles infos sur ça, on viendrait sur ça bientôt. Going back to the English, we have another report that we'd like to show, looking at how you basically have managed to get your molecule car off the ground. If we can now show this report a bit more, looking at the nanotechnology involved in these cars.
Nous sommes dans la salle de contrôle dans laquelle se trouveront les 6 équipes. Chacun aura à sa disposition un poste de travail très complet qui permet en quelque sorte de télécommander les manipulations qui se font 2 étages plus bas et certaines d'ailleurs se font à l'étranger.
Les concurrents qui participent à la course sont situés dans une salle de contrôle et ils doivent pouvoir accéder au PC qui va contrôler le STM. Le problème, c'est que ce PC n'est pas situé dans la salle de course. Donc on va utiliser un logiciel en fait qui va permettre de prendre le contrôle de cette machine à distance, c'est-à-dire de pouvoir faire afficher sur leur écran de contrôle dans la salle de la course ce qui se passe sur la machine qui va contrôler le STM. Ce petit logiciel va communiquer via Internet, il va être installé sur chacune des machines, la machine située dans la salle de course et la machine contrôlant le STM. Et via le réseau Internet, on va donc pouvoir accéder tout simplement au contrôle de la machine du STM. Alors la problématique est relativement simple quand il s'agit d'aller se connecter entre la salle de course et l'endroit où est situé le STM au niveau du CMS. Par contre, là où ça devient un peu plus compliqué, ça va être lorsqu'il va s'agir de se connecter en Autriche, par exemple, pour l'équipe autrichienne, ou aux États-Unis pour l'équipe de l'Ohio. Donc là, on va utiliser le réseau Internet, effectivement, avec toutes les problématiques de continuité de la connexion et également les problèmes de sécurité liés à cette connexion.
You're back with us now and you can see again there's the control room there. So once again, I'm with the team who are currently, you can see this animation, have gone straight to the top and you can see that they were way ahead. This is the Austrian-American team, dipolar racers who are with me now, well ahead, and behind them is the Swiss nano dragsters who are closing in to second place very soon. And if we have any news after we finish this live, we'll of course bring that to you very quickly. And you can see some laggards there. En français, vous voyez très bien que Dipolar Racers sont en première position. C'est une équipe mélangée des Autrichiens et des Américains. Les Suisses avec les Nano Dragsters sont en deuxième place. Et je crois qu'avant la fin de la soirée, on va avoir des nouvelles d'eux bientôt. Et les Allemands, troisième. Et finalement, 4e, 5e, 6e, il n'y a pas grand-chose entre eux tous. Les Français, les Japonais, les Américains, ils ont du mal à déplacer avec le nanocar. Je pense que ça prendra beaucoup plus qu'1 million d'années pour faire 1 kilomètre aux vitesses qu'ils vont actuellement. So, just going back to, now, a lot of people are watching us on the YouTube channel. A lot of people are in touch with us on Twitter, on Facebook. And we're going to ask you 3 questions about that. But also for our viewers out there, we're taking a Reddit question now, Reddit questions. And I know there's a lot of you lining up to ask questions. And that Reddit question is, ask me anything. So we have a superb social media team out there. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them. And they're ready to take all those questions, ask me anything. Reddit's open from 5 to 7 tonight, French time. So go ahead. However, for you two gentlemen, here are questions that I've had from Nicholas B. from YouTube. How did you create your car, and how unique is it compared to the other ones which are here tonight?
Okay, so we made the car by chemical methods where we don't make one at a time, we make a billion at a time. And we use chemical methods and then we identify at each step. So what we did is we first built the interior with a strong net dipole, and then we attached on the wheels that we knew that would go the fastest. We kept ours to have just 2 wheels, and that was with intent, because the more wheels you have, the slower you go. You just need enough wheels to keep it suspended above the surface, and then you want to minimize the number of wheels after that. That's something we've learned over many years, that we want to reduce the contact points, and then we have a strong net dipole that's going to interact with the electric fields. And then we had freely rotating wheels, so very low barrier to rotation.
So this isn't a car, this is a scooter.
It has 2 wheels, not 4 wheels. If you want to call that a scooter, that'd be okay. Some have called it like a Segway. But there were no requirements to have 4 wheels or 6 wheels or 8 wheels. So, some of the vehicles here have no wheels. They're wheelless, and so we went with 2 wheels to have it propel as fast as we could. Nor was there a requirement to reveal the structure of the car before the race, and so we only revealed the structure of the car on race day.
Great, that clarified that one. So I'll get to a third question on that, which will be interesting. Because we're talking about a silver surface and you've done it on gold surface, could what you've learnt here help with eventually issues of corrosion?
So as far as corrosion on gold, that's well known. There is none. There's no stable oxides that form on gold. This is why you can find gold bullion at the bottom of the ocean after hundreds of years, and it's just fine. Silver definitely corrodes quite quickly, and it oxidizes, and that's why you always have to polish your silver. That's what makes silver a harder surface than gold, because it picks up adsorbates, things adsorb to it, and those act as little barriers, diffusion barriers that inhibit the car from moving. So it's in that way that silver is actually a slower surface that we had to go to, or else these cars go too fast on gold. Have I got that right?
Yeah, fully agree, yeah.
Okay, and the final question. You said yourself that this comes from Anthony on YouTube. Is what you've done secret, or are you prepared to unveil all this? Because it seems like you just, nobody knew much about your car until today, really. So is it all secret?
Right, so we plan on so the structure is now out, and it's been given to the race committee. The structure is out there, and we plan on writing a paper of all the needed features to optimize speed on a surface. As far as the design of the molecule goes, that will all be written up and published, and we will hand that to the world in the attempt to propel this whole field forward, to give everybody the insight that we've garnered over decades of work on these, to try to move the field along.
Maybe I can add the experimental part on this, that of course we want to publish that. We have gained quite some experience on this, and I think the way we manipulated them, or actually that was found in the whole team together, is I think quite sophisticated, and together with the the structure and the design of the molecule. We'll also publish how we did that. So how can you get that fast? It's not having a very good molecule is of course an important ingredient, but then you need to be quick in the experimental process, and this will be all published, of course.
Apart from the fun side of this being a nano car race, has this actual event, do you think it actually pushes what you study forward somewhat?
Definitely. I mean, in terms of experiment, I would say normally we would never do such an experiment because we work with the molecules, we try to learn what's going on, we try to understand the basics of physics and chemistry there, and I think we do pretty well over the years. But we never thought of being fast. This is something which is out of our mind. So we try to learn most we can, whatever the time is that we need. This is a very different thing now. So today, and in the preparation of this race, we try to be as fast as we can. So we neglected many things on the side, and just actually what I just said before, we found a way how we can manipulate much faster than we would do normally. I think a month ago, our speed was maybe a tenth or even way below. And then in last weeks, preparing for this, we found how can we accelerate that? And that's interesting for the experiment in general.
The big thing about this, in my view, is what this is going to mean for the future. This says to the world that not only can we manipulate molecules, but we can manipulate them around obstacles quickly from one point to another. This is the beginnings of bottom-up construction. So the way people normally build is if they want to build a podium, they'll chop down a tree and make a podium. That's top-down. But that tree was not made from some larger tree. It was made by the bottom-up using nature's nanomachines, which are called enzymes. What we'd like to be able to do is to take nanomachines that look like this and begin to pick up material and bring it in place. In a few years, that's where this race will be. It won't just be racing cars. It will be able to we'll have to pick up something and bring it across a finish line. Then we'll have to pick up multiples and then start assembling them into objects. Because in 100 or 200 years, we will learn how to build buildings just by bringing in nanomachines and giving them the correct voltage pulses, and it will build around us. Much like biological systems, including you and me, have been made this way from the bottom up. That's the motivation, to show the world what can be done and how we can propel this to push ahead the future.
That's fascinating. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And our viewers out there really appreciate it as well. Stay there. We're coming to the close of this particular live. That was the dipolar team, the racers from Austria and the United States, coming well ahead of the others for the time being. Of course, this race continues. We want to see if their car is really strong enough to resist 36 hours of electric bolts and jolts in it. So we'll stay tuned on all that. We'll have much more. Of course, we're also hearing that the Swiss team are racing towards the finish line. And if we have any news on that in the coming hours, so you can be sure we'll bring you up to date on what's happening. So for now, thanks very much for watching, and we'll be back with you very soon. In the meantime, as we leave you, after this animation, we'll go back to the racers' control room, where you can see live streamed pictures for the next half hour on just what is happening inside that control room. Thanks very much. Thank you. Just
magnifique, et après elle va marcher. Tu vas voir.